Welcome to another episode of Bespoke Architects Daily Pinup. I'm Nicole Walters, Director of Bespoke Architects, and I'm about to show you what inspiring design images made our Pinterest boards today. The IHA house, or residence rather, had some really fascinating design solutions. It has a screen on the outside of the windows, and then on the inside it has these open shelving. In this image here they've got books, and in this image here they've got knickknacks. I just loved this as a design solution. It's certainly not something I have seen before, but often I talk about depth in an elevation and how to achieve that so we're not just left with a flat box, and I think this is taking that concept one step further and giving real depth, three-dimensional depth into a window. So I really like this. I will say my partner is into books, and he would be horrified to think that the books were being stored in any sort of direct sunlight. So if you're an antique book collector, do not do that. I don't recommend it. But if you just have a general collection of books or perhaps knickknacks, I think that's a wonderful way to store them. So that's why those couple of images have made the board. The same project had a really interesting vanity bench. It's organic in its form, wall hung. I just love it. Again, the kitchen had some really interesting concrete. It was the materials that caught my eye, and this vertical divider between what looks to be the sink and the cooktop, and how they've done that in concrete and created some open shelving either side of that. That was a really interesting solution there, dividing off the cooking spaces. I pinned this image here for the way they've done their stairs. Interesting, they're a concrete tread. They do connect to each other. It almost looks like the spine of an animal. It's just a really interesting staircase. So that's why that image made the board. And externally, it has these curved rib form, again, like a spine on the outside of the building. So it was a very interesting project and well worth a look. Again, if you do go to our Pinterest page, you can click on the image and it will take you to the article where I've gotten the image from. So if you want to have a deep dive, there are a lot more images from this project. They are up there on the internet for you to discover. This particular little project, it was the timber screen. Obviously I like a screen. So that's why that made the board. It just is such a neat parapet type of elevation or composition to the street, and then we get this depth in the facade again through the use of that screen. This image here, it was the staircase. That is a concrete stair with a Rio balustrade system. It's a really interesting stair. This is it from another angle, and we can see it's just winding its way around this space below, which is in fact the kitchen. And in this instance, you can see an island bench with nothing underneath and that plumbing going straight down. It is pinned up on my stair board, but interesting island bench as well. This one I pinned for the fireplace, and I guess this is a discussion around proportion and scale. To me, the fireplace, gorgeous as it is, and I do know that Real Flame just near our office has a very similar model on show. I love it as a fireplace. I think in this space, it is dwarfed. It is too small. I would have preferred to see it suspended rather than on the floor if they were going to go for it at that scale, or some joinery to help increase the size of it. This image here, it was the materials around this kitchen and the layout of the kitchen. So it's an L-shaped kitchen divided by an external door, and then there's the dining table in the middle, which could duplicate as a prep bench if you liked. So I didn't mind that as a layout. Obviously, your cleaning side is over there, your cooking and your food storage is on this side of that kitchen. This one I pinned for the materials. So we can see here, we've got the open plan kitchen, dining, living. In this instance, the bench is creating a real dividing space between the kitchen and the dining space, and then they've gone for a sunken lounge and put up a small wall there to act as the back of the couch. So those three spaces, well contained within the one room, are very segregated. But I do like the use of the materials as well in that one. So what we're seeing on the island bench is then replicated over here on those sunken lounge, and it's on the back wall. So it was a really nice composition, and just a different way to add interest into an open space like that. I pinned the cat door. It looks to be leather. I really like that as a cat door. I think I have had a cat. They do have oil in their fur, so how well that leather will wear with constant use, I can't say, but I just think it's a really soft, really nice alternative to, say, the Perspex glass that we sometimes see. Again, I was having a big book day today. So this is double-sided book storage. This is it on one side of that staircase going up, and this is it on the top level looking back through. One thing to be mindful of is there is nothing stopping those books falling through and hitting someone on the lower level. So just something to be mindful of, but I think it's a really interesting room divider. It does let the light through, and who doesn't like a good lot of book storage in their house? Moving on, this one I pinned for the pool. It's just a beautiful pool. It's walled on one side. It's connected. There is a pool fence here, so it's more than likely an Australian project. It does connect through to that alfresco area. So just as a combination pool alfresco area, often they're separated, but in this instance, it's an all-in-one, and I really enjoyed the way they were working, and the decking sort of extends out and past the spa. This is it from the front, again pinned for the composition of the two cantilevered sort of parapet boxes sitting over top of the car park, and their use of materials and screens to the street. So screens offer privacy as well as offering depth in the facade. So this is great. These rooms obviously overlook a road. I'm saying that because of the location of the garage. So that screen means that if you're a pedestrian on the street, you can't really see what's going on inside that particular living space or bedroom or whatever happens to be up there. This is an internal from that same project, and I really just loved this built-in couch here, which is obviously the same project as up here, and a similar might be the end of that sunken lounge there. But I just, even the way that the upholstery ends short of the stage that it's sitting on, or the timber upstand, and creates that little side table, it just looks like a really inviting place to sit. Same property, a really beautiful staircase again. So it's replicating the timber screening verticality that it's got externally. It's now putting it internally and running the timber tread across. And then that timber paneling that we're seeing on the roof and the floor is again here on the wall. So I really do think that is a beautiful staircase solution. And then their kitchen, we saw it from this angle, is quite divided, and this area here is again a very divided open, but quite a solid divide between the space and the next one. So that's why that's on the board. This particular staircase I really love. So this is just plain unframed glass, floor to ceiling, closest to us in that image. Then we've got our steel stringer with our open timber tread, and against the brickwork wall on the far side of that staircase is the handrail. It's just stunning, a stunning staircase to look at. Here it is from another angle, and we can see that that glass box is creating like a skylight effect again down through the levels there, but it just looks incredible from the inside. This one here I pinned for the appliances. This is a kitchen. This is an island bench. It has got a cooktop on it. There is no range hood above in the traditional sense. It is the Miele induction type or downdraft type of range hood. These, we're seeing more of these coming onto the market. So Miele does one, as does Bora. They are a great design solution if you don't want to obstruct your bench with an overhead of any type. From that same property, I pinned this. This is the staircase on an upper level, and then we have a skylight above the passage next to it. So that's offering that light down that staircase. I'm assuming it was a fire regulation that prevented the skylight from being directly above the stair, but it does offer that natural light falling down to this floor below, and assumably the floor below that. This is it externally from the rear. I just really like the way they'd almost done a commercial curtain wall. So that's an office building solution where we have a transom and we can just see the connection of where the floor is. The floor structure is just a solid element, and then we go back to solid glass. It looks like a commercial window in a residential property, and I really liked how it looked. And this is a detailed shot of it going around that corner at the bottom, and then they've broken the two materials. The brick and the standing seam is broken by this little horizontal band of windows, making it feel very light, even though there'd be a lot of actual structure in that window frame itself. It does offer a very light solution. So I just, all in all, really liked the windows and the staircase in that project. I pinned this one. This is obviously a rooftop balcony. It will be on my al fresco board. And again, a conversation around having a solid balustrade that I mentioned yesterday, as opposed to a glass balustrade, and the privacy that that offers and the way that it frames the view. So you can see in this image, it almost cuts out the urban environment in which this rooftop is sitting, and we're just catching the sea and the horizon line in the distance. So I really think that is an elegant solution to a raised al fresco area. This particular apartment, I just love the fish scale tiles in this apartment. Like, they've run them on the walls and the ceiling. I very rarely see tiles on a ceiling, but it's just stunning. And an interesting shower solution, they've gone for the rail and the curtain. So it's a really open sort of shower, and then it has that more traditional shower curtain. I actually have a shower curtain at home, and I love the fact that I can mix up my shower curtain design on a regular basis. I'm too lazy to clean my shower curtain, so when it gets moldy or starts to get a bit grimy, I actually lash out and spend the extra $13 and replace it. And so I mix up colors and patterns and that kind of thing, and I find it gives me an ability to do a quick, cheap makeover in my bathroom. So I'm not opposed to the shower curtain, and here we can see they've done it in this shower scenario as well, where we've got it on two sides of that shower. So just an interesting option for showers. But again, it was more the fish scale tile that really drew my eye to this, and the fact that they'd run the tiles on the ceiling. I really enjoy that. They also did these really full height. I've put it on the screen board because I guess that's what it is. It's a fabric screen that's being used as a room divider. So it's separating your sleeping zone from your adjoining living zone in this image, but it doesn't just span the floor that it's treating. It actually is spanning the full 2 levels of this apartment. And it's different. It's a different solution. Again, how clean that stays, it will get dirty over time. I have done a fabric wall at my house where I've just literally hung fabric from a tensioned rod above a wall, and it was a muslin cloth, and I've got to say that over time I did notice that it got grubby, so you would want the ability to be able to wash that, and I think that much fabric is not going to fit in a standard washing machine. So again, whether you can vacuum it or steam clean it, but just something to be aware of. It is going to be a harder one from a maintenance perspective, for an ongoing living situation, but a really soft way to close off a room and gives you that flexibility. It would also help block light as well between the spaces. And this is it. Again, it's got that built-in lounge space at the end of this image here. We can see it over here. It's like a window seat. It is under a window, and then it wraps around in that L shape, creating quite the conversation pit. We see a big trend back towards that as opposed to freestanding pieces. So I am a fan, particularly in smaller spaces like this where you're really limited and you want to create the best space that you can. The kitchen from that property, I just really, enjoyed the materials of this property. You can see the joinery handles are something a little bit different. They're just a horizontal piece of timber with the timber sort of shiplap cladding. So I really enjoyed that as a material for a kitchen. I pinned this for the roof garden on this really complex sort of shape. It does remind me of the office building we got a town planning permit for a couple of years ago here in Geelong, where we tried to break up the shapes and then add the softness of the landscape as we went up. So again, it plays back to a project that I've done previously, unfortunately was never built, but I really do enjoy that concept. And then this particular image over here, a bit more sort of an office come it's a strange space for an office, but it's definitely a dedicated study zone. And what sort of, if that's a passage or a bedroom, I'm not sure what it's leading off of, but it is kind of tucked out of the way. So again, if you're a person that does have to work from home, as we all currently do, but don't like the idea of having a computer terminal set up on your kitchen table, then this is an option to create sort of a space rather than just a cupboard where that tasks can sort of happen, and then you've got the potential to shut it off at night when you're shutting yourself off from work, which is one of the bigger challenges at working from home, particularly at this time. I have pinned this little project, the FG single family house, for the joinery. It's just got some amazing joinery solutions. So this is just a wall of cupboards that then has an open section here at the desk end. I love it. It's so simple and elegant. There are no handles on this joinery. It's obviously push to release. We see it here in the kitchen. It creates the opening between the two rooms, and it's got this LED strip lighting, really emphasizing that curve. It's again in a bedroom, dividing two spaces. Assumably the cupboards actually only go to the door height, and then they've just carried the material up to give the illusion of it going to the ceiling. And that one clearly is they're obviously using it for heating and cooling, because we can see there are linear grills in some of these images. So I really liked that. And then that's the kitchen from this property. And again, the joinery, the way the kitchen has got this opaque glass end panel on it. It's got the island bench and the galley, but then it continues along this wall with all their built-in appliances. So you've sort of got a real delineation of prep area, clean area, cook area. So I really enjoyed that. And then again, the use of glass to create screens on this mezzanine level that's overlooking the staircase, working in really nicely with the solid white joinery. There's been a lot of thought put into the detailing around joinery in this project, and it certainly pays off because it looks amazing, and it's something worth spending time on. This particular project, again, parapet forms and the screening, just adding depth to that facade, and the cantilevers, the way the landscaping's been replicated with the materials and the way that interacts with the street. The fence is high, but it's set back from the street. It's not right on the street edge. We have this lower garden bed in front of it. So as a pedestrian walking past, it's not going to feel like a sheer wall. I think that's really elegant and beautiful as a composition to the street. Back to the FG single house, again, there's solution around the staircase. It's so simple. There is no skirting board going up that staircase. It's plaster onto timber, and then it's got a recessed handrail into that wall. It's just, again, reflective of the rest of the project, highly detailed, and is an amazing looking project. This one, a mega mansion, but pinned really for that alfresco area and its connection with the pool. And again, the screen on this window wall that we're seeing on the end. That is a huge property with a huge budget, but it does look well thought out in terms of landscaping. So that's why that image made the board. This one here, again, it was the staircase. There is no structure that we can see. The structure is obviously back behind the plaster wall, and then the rods on this side that are acting as the balustrade will also be supporting the end of those steel treads. It's a very simple staircase. Again, I like it. As you can obviously see from the amount of pinning I do around stairs, there are so many design solutions for stairs, so many material choices, color choices, whether we're trying to use them as light wells. You've really got a huge amount of opportunity with a staircase to make a statement. So, that's why our boards have so many stairs on them, just to try and inspire people to come up with something creative for their staircase. This same project, you can see the staircase in the background, but it was around that fireplace in this instance. So we've got a mezzanine level above. Our wall is not full height, but it just has this sort of floating mid-level fireplace. And I'm pleased to see, for the purposes of this photo, the TV was taken down. It's a really beautiful fireplace, the way it presents. This is a gorgeous, really beautiful elevation. I'm loving this horizontal member above. It serves no purpose beyond looking incredible. You know, it's a lot of money in that elevation, but I think it just is beautiful, really, really beautiful. This one, it's an outside bathtub. We don't often see that solution. It has got a roof over it and some walls, so it is quite a private bathing space, but it is outside, so I just thought I'd pin that on the board. We do have a client at the moment contemplating an outside bath, so I'm obviously thinking of their project. And then this one here, it was the roof form, so the asymmetrical gable roof with the cantilever over the top. I really like that shape. And this, the private island, I mean, I just really like the way it integrated. I mean, who wouldn't want to live there? It's obviously more of a traditional home. From America, it has got that sort of gable Hamptons feel to it, but then all this rockery and then this beautiful lawn. I mean, it's just really an attractive image. So it made the board of inspiration. This one here, the island bench, and it was this band of brass that caught my eye and has put this kitchen on the board today. And then from the same stone manufacturer, this curved island bench here. So we've got the same stone top now acting as a waterfall all the way around, and then they've added to the degree of detailing by curving the corners on that. It's just a stunning island bench. And this one obviously has the sink in it with the cooking behind, and then we've got obviously an integrated fridge in this wall, and I dare say the cooktop might be at the the oven might be at the back underneath, whereas this one, the sink is in the island bench as well, and then there's the integrated fridge we can see there, and then the cooking's all done at the back, and just some different lighting over the island bench. And that is all the interesting pins that have made our board today. We have put up the video of Bespoke house number 4, which is the golf course house in Conowari here in Geelong. It is a beautiful little property if you have the 3 minutes to have a look. Very much a mid-century inspired house, cantilevered concrete floors, open concrete stairs. We've got retracting corner doors. It really is a delightful little project and well worth your time. If you've got it to invest, you can find that video up on our YouTube, up on our Instagram, and now up on our Pinterest. So thank you very much for joining me for another episode of Bespoke Architects Daily Pinup. I will see you tomorrow with some more inspiring images. Until then, take care. Thank you.